Hi everyone, this is Caroline and I'm here with another process video. This one's number 6 and it's for a layout called My Instagram in February. So I'm starting this layout a little bit differently. I want to show you the different materials that I've gathered. When I start this process, I don't have a generalized layout. I usually have a title cut and ready to go, and I've usually gone through my room and grabbed anything that I might end up using just to save time in the video process. So I've cut out the title and a bunch of little things from Silhouette corrugated paper. And this thing that I'm showing you is just a heart with a circle around it. When I cut it out, I put some red line adhesive on the back side and I sprinkled some Martha Stewart beads in it and then covered it with glossy accents. So while I don't have a game plan or thought process to where that's going to go when the thing is done, that's the only thing that I've got ready to go aside from this title and these other things. So it's all cut from this Silhouette corrugated paper, and it is adhesive backed. If Silhouette were interested, in my opinion, I would prefer it not to be adhesive backed. It's a little hard to work with. This was a scrap that was left over from the Instatour video that I did, and I won't be using that. So those are different things that I had set aside. The idea for this layout is it's 8 pictures that are printed from my Instagram feed from February 2014. I'm trying to do these type pages once a month for my Instagram feed. I am not a project lifer, never will be. It just doesn't, I love seeing your pages. However, it's just not a format that fits what I need to do or how I want to keep my memories. But I do like the idea of gathering these pictures and having them, one 8.5 by 11 page that kind of sums up the month, because I look at it and I just am awash with, oh yeah, that's what that month was like. So I'm showing you some Heidi Swap stamps. They don't get used, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about them. My vintage, close to my heart uh, inks. This is a roll of baker's twine that is absolutely enormous, and I picked it up. I'm lucky enough to have a Crate and Barrel, which is, wow. Just, I love walking through that store, and the fact that they had this was just kind of one of those weird things, but I had to pick it up. I think it was $8. It will last me until I'm 142 years old, but I'm bound and determined to use some of it on today's layout. This is my little Pyrex bowl of things that are already cut. So if I'm cutting a title or something and there's a lot of negative space that's going to end up being thrown away, I'll try to go through and find a couple of designs to tuck in there, and that's what that Pyrex dish is. So these are the papers that I've gathered, and I do use a lot of them. So I've gone with blues and grays because February here is cold, so blue, and gray because it's very overcast. It's February, so there's got to be some heart papers in there and some pinks and reds. And then I'm student teaching high school math, so there's lots of number papers that I've gathered, and graph paper, and like hexagon kind of stuff. So those are the papers that I've gathered, and I think at this point we're ready to get started. So, oh no, I want to show you the magic scraps that I'm going to use. This is really, really old, and it's like shredded plastic, but it shimmers nicely, and I want to use this on the layout as some kind of snow. So I don't know how I'm going to use that as I'm showing this to you, but I do manage to incorporate it. And then stickles. I'm falling in love again with stickles. I don't know, I've had them forever. They sat around, I never used them, but for some reason now all of a sudden every page has a couple of dots of stickles. So I use some Bella Boulevard black polka dot paper so that I can make that word February actually show up with some contrast. And then the it's Basil Basics, that scallop stuff, like I bought it scalloped, but it's called Tink Pink, and I absolutely love that color, and I think it's perfect for a page about February. The irony is at the end of it, it hardly shows up at all. So I'm going through and I'm matting my papers, or matting my pictures, and I mat them all once because I feel like I don't want to overdo it. But the funny thing is once I get them all matted, I realize that they really do need a second piece of paper in there just to, I don't know, layer them up, I guess. So February was extremely cold, and we had snow, but not like tons and tons of snow, 6 inches at a time usually. my son and I were just talking, we have not had tons of snow in the past couple of years. It's all been more dusting. So I'm flipping through looking for a particular piece of paper, that gray and white snowflake paper, but those were my fridge bins, and that's how I use it. I cut my scraps down to 3.5 by 4, and I put them in there, and when I need something, I just flip through until I find it. I will say this, I was in a moment of panic with the camera going. I'm like, what if I can't find this? And I've got this all on video that my system is really terrible. Um, my system really works for me, and that's all I can say about it. But I did manage to find that scrap with relative ease. So I've got everything matted at this point, and I'm looking through my different cuts, and then I remember, oh, I've got my snowflake. That was the big thing that I was going to use. So at this point, I'm putting it on a piece of black. I use a die to cut out a black scallop circle and then put that on the blue and white paper that I want to say is Bella Boulevard as well. It's older. I want to say from 2012 maybe. And this is just going to kind of hang off the edge. It's this one picture that it's going on top of is really atrocious. It shows my car dashboard and it says 7:07 a.m. and -5 degrees. They actually canceled school, I think I want to say 5 times this year, or during the time that I was there, for the cold weather we kept having, because it was just dangerously cold. But apparently -5 degrees was not cold enough to cancel it that day. We did have a warm spell one weekend in February where it got up to, like, I want to say 39 degrees, which is actually kind of rare in general, but really rare when it was -5 degrees so much. So we went to the zoo, and the elephants were very fun, and have a couple of pictures of them. This picture that I'm working on now is the high school cafeteria. And, obviously I can't have pictures of the kids, and I wasn't going to hand over my camera and tell my cooperating teacher, hey, I'm a scrapbooker, can you take a picture of me at the front of the class? So, I have to use what I've got in terms of remembering the school. And at this point, I'm going through and I'm finding a scrap of orange to go underneath of the picture on the left-hand column, second one down. It's a picture of my closet. I have worked in a camera store for the last, prior to this, 12 years. For the most part, I worked at Archivers for 14 months in there, but uh, I had to wear uniforms at both of the stores, so like logo shirts. And when I was student teaching, I was like, I don't have any like appropriate clothing, so I had to go buy a whole bunch of 3/4 length sleeves. And then the orange in the corner is the sweater that I'm actually wearing in the video. And it's also the sweater that I was holding in the last video that I did. I really love this sweater, apparently. So below that are the tulips that I got for Valentine's Day, and below that picture is, we play euchre on Saturday nights with my kids, and that was a particularly stinky hand that I wanted to, apparently, like sometimes I'll take a picture of my hand because everybody else can remember what they had. I can never remember what I have. So I'll snap a picture and, show my partner, this is why I was so angry when you picked it up. So I don't get angry, but you know what I mean. So I've had to cut out a whole lot of things in this. At this point, and I'm out of frame. I apologize. I will do better next time. But up at the top of the page, I'm putting in some clouds. That's a picture of the outdoor eating area for our burger joint that we love so much. And so I'm putting some clouds up there to represent the snow that we had. And then I'm cutting out some of these itty bitty little hearts. And I want to say it's Simon Says Stamped for these hearts. Um, what wafer thin dies I have at this point, I've pretty much picked up at Simon Says Stamps because they have such a great selection. And I might be good at giving them credit for something that doesn't belong to them, but I'm pretty certain that's where I bought it. I don't know if it's theirs or not. This is a freckled fawn question mark speech bubble, which I thought was absolutely perfect for this picture of the school cafeteria, because boy, you ask people in an Algebra 2 class some questions, and that's kind of basically the answer that you get is just a question mark in a speech bubble. So I thought that was perfect. There's also some calculus washi tape underneath that picture that I absolutely adore. And then this is, I'm putting a little teeny tiny bird on a pink tag that I've cut out. That picture, and it's obviously hard to see at the moment, it's a picture of a concrete post in a parking lot that was outside of a Chuck E. Cheese. And we were running errands one Saturday morning, and someone had put this shiny red party hat on it, and the combined result with some snow on it just ended up looking like this very exotic bird. So I drove past it and I couldn't resist doubling back to take a picture of it because I just thought it was so funny. Um, I don't think anybody else thought it was funny, but I'm amused by it. And that's all that's important in life, right? That I'm amused. I have decided that stickles are the perfect go-to. Like, I just don't know what embellishment to use. So I'm going to just put some stickle sprinkles on here to add some visual depth and interest. With no clear theme other than the month, it becomes difficult to pick out embellishments. And with so many pictures, everything has to be really, really tiny. So it really limits my options for doing this. So that's where the stickles really come in handy. I should not hold things up to the camera because my camera can't focus that quickly. That's a little sticker that says off to school, and then the one that's going up on that top picture says head of the class. And I've got some washi tape. It's over there. And I'm using some Kelly Perky stickers to do the title, the Instagram part of the title. I was going to do the whole thing in blue. I put down the I and went to reach for the N and realized I didn't have a blue N. So at this point, I had to kind of real quick scramble and come up with plan B. And my plan B was to use like a rainbow of colors for the word Insta and then come back to the blue for the word gram. And I'm actually really pleased the way, A, with the way it looks, and B, with the fact that if I think about it, isn't Instagram's logo, isn't in there somewhere a rainbow stripe? So I'm pleased with, I'm perfectly okay with that. So at this point, I'm adding some, I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, I'm putting down my clouds and I'm going to cut the edges of the clouds off. And then I'm going to add some glossy accent dots, like drops coming from the clouds. And to my dots of glue, and I've tried to be very light-handed with this and failed because I didn't have my reading glasses on. But to my little drops of glue, I am adding the Magic Scraps plasticky stuff. And at this point, I leave and I go to a doctor's appointment and I come back and I brush it off and it doesn't look quite the way I want it, but this is the final product. I think it's fun and colorful. It's not probably the best layout ever. Oh, I wrapped some twine, that Crate and Barrel twine, around the word Y. Boy, Jennifer Gallagher makes that process look so easy. I have the biggest sausage fingers. It's so hard. So this is the Magic Scraps detail shot. Like I said, didn't come out exactly the way I wanted it, but pretty good. So that's my layout for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you got some kind of inspiration out of it, and there are detail shots on my blog. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.